Just got an interesting call or comment from Carmen, who's in Montana, who suggested, and I've got to fact check this before I go any farther, or not before I go any farther, but before I assert it as an absolute fact. But he suggested that in 1958, Kuwait let a company called Zapata Oil slant drill from northern Kuwait into the oil fields of southern Iraq and start stealing Saddam Hussein's oil. At that time, it wasn't Saddam. Well, I guess it was Saddam Hussein at that point. I think he came in 54, whatever. Zapata Oil was the oil company that was run by George Herbert Walker Bush back when he was an oil guy who was actually, the oil company was a front for the CIA. Zapata Oil also had an exploration well off the coast of Cuba during the Bay of Pigs operation, which was used to gather intelligence for the CIA about for the Bay of Pigs. So anyhow, the story might start in 1958 with the Bush family, but like I said, I got to fact check that. And, so we'll see where that goes. So anyhow, we're up to 2001 and, Bush is an unpopular, illegitimate president. Sandy Berger told me on this program years ago, we've got the audio someplace, that the Bush administration had been warned, look out for Osama bin Laden, look out for al-Qaeda. And they were ignoring that because that was Clinton's thing, right? Bush gives the $40 million, so we get 9/11. All around the world, there were these solidarity marches after the day after 9/11. Just like in France right now. We are not afraid. We support the United States. In Tehran, Iran, they had a candlelight vigil. They said, we are all Americans now. In Iran. This was the day after 9/11. Afghanistan then makes an offer to the United States. We will arrest bin Laden and present him to a third country for trial along with any of his affiliated people. If you would like, the Taliban is offering this. I mean, keep in mind, the Bush administration had had a friendly relationship with the Taliban. They just given them, I think it was $40 million to burn the opium crop. So the Taliban says, you want bin Laden? We'll give him to you. And Bush says, nah, I need a war. He's a very unpopular president at that point. And so he goes to war with Afghanistan, a country that has a GDP of only $2 billion a year. We spend $1 trillion, $1,000 billion going to war with Afghanistan. This was, Bush's reaction to 9/11 was exactly what the Project for New American Century memo called for. He says, hey, it's a Pearl Harbor event. Use it to invade Iraq. L. Paul Bremer then goes over to Iraq to try this libertarian experiment, firing the army, firing the police, shutting down half of the Iraqi economy that was run by state-owned industries, and waiting for the magic of the free market to work so that they can say, see, Milton Friedman was right. Didn't work out so well in Chile, but we can make it happen. Instead of the magic of the free market, what we got was looting of museums and revenge killings, and Don Rumsfeld goes on TV and says, democracy is messy. And as the Iraqi people realize that they've been screwed, this invasion is not working to their benefit. It's only working to the benefit of the oil barons. They begin to fight back. We call it an insurgency. We crack down brutally to stop that insurgency. We we take over the Abu Ghraib prison and start putting insurgents there. Meanwhile, in France, in 2007, as this is going on, during the Bush administration, W. Bush, a fellow by the name of Sharif Kouachi, and I'm sure I'm mispronouncing this. I don't know how to pronounce French, but this is one of the two guys who shot up Charlie Hebdo yesterday, the younger of the two brothers. He sees the pictures from Abu Ghraib, and he gets so upset that he hops on a plane to Damascus on his way to Iraq to join the insurgents killing Americans. He gets arrested because he misses his plane. He gets arrested in France. The French prosecute him, and he actually goes to prison for supporting terrorism for 18 months. Now we have destroyed two states, Iraq and Afghanistan. We have two failed states in the region. And Milton Friedman economics, libertarian economics, conservative economics of just let the magic of the free market work is utterly failed. And the failure of these two failed states is starting to spread around the region disastrously. So what do? We step up drone strikes against bad guys, right, which further inflames them. And this is continuing to this day. We are dealing with, see, now, if Bush had responded to 9/11, W had responded to 9/11 by saying this is a crime, we're going to involve the police of the world, which I hope is what the French will do, it would have been the end of it. But instead, we did exactly what bin Laden wanted. He needed recruiting. His movement was going nowhere. They were leftover dead-enders from the war against the Soviets in Afghanistan. They had nothing to do, no place to go. He needed help. He needed the United States to make him into Lex Luthor. And George W. Bush wanted to be Superman. You can't be Superman without Lex Luthor. So George W. Bush did exactly what bin Laden predicted he would do and wanted him to do. And thus, today, the recruiting of right-wing hardcore Wahhabist extremists all over the world continues unabated, all as a consequence of horrible mistakes made largely for political purposes, largely to get reelected. The first Gulf War by George Herbert Walker Bush, the Afghan War by George W. Bush, and the Iraqi War by George W. Bush, to get political capital. George W. Bush admitted this. If the French respond the way that the Bushes responded, we are going to have a world war. And you're going to have, 1.7 million or billion Muslims around the world, the vast majority of them. In France has the most secular Muslim population in the world. Most Muslims in France are really not interested in either politics or even Islam. Seriously, Juan Cole wrote a great piece on this. And there's an argument that that's why these guys attacked Charlie Hebdo, was they wanted the French government to overreact the way that George W. Bush overreacted to 9/11 so that they could view themselves as victims and they could start recruiting. Please, France, don't do it.
You're listening to the Thom Hartmann Program.